We are delighted that you're joining us for another podcast of Wake Up Aligned, and it is the podcast for chiropractors where we get to talk about chiropractic lifestyle, and topics of interest. You can contact us through our email, and that is mailbag@amcfamily.com.
Welcome to Wake Up Aligned. I'm Christie Reese. Well, no, I'm Irwin now, so I kind of get used to that. But I've been in AMC since day one, and this is just my calling for my life of what I want to do and have done. And I have today with us in the studio is Jan Treese. And Jan, go ahead and say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jan Treese, as Miss Christie said. I am Dr. Bigley's chiropractic assistant, office manager, and the Jan of all trades is the joke. I've worked for Dr. Bigley for about 10 years, and I have been working with Aligned as a CA mentor for a little over a year now. So that's kind of why Miss Christie's drug me in here and had me do this with her today.
Yeah, well, we want to talk a little bit about setting up your staff for success, and then the do's and don'ts of interactions with the patients.
Yes.
And I'd like to kind of go off of that today. Jan, I'm going to let you go ahead and kick it off, and then I'll just kind of add in as I do, and I know I will.
That sounds good to me. Let's do it. So for your chiropractic assistants, you can have a fantastic employee. They can be the sweetest, nicest, most positive person in your office. But if you cannot set up a proper form of communication with that person, you are immediately setting up a barrier. Communication to me is the most important aspect between a doctor and a CA. As a doctor, you need to have some sort of system. You know, I want you to write down things that you want to discuss or that you think would be a great addition, you know, to our office, and we're going to talk about those at our staff meetings. Or, you know, if something is pressing and it needs your attention, what's your system? For us, if I have something that's pressing and I need Dr. Bigley's assistance with, maybe it's regarding a patient, you know, I will say, Dr. Bigley, I'll leave her a note, I'll send her a message, you know, however you guys do that. I'll say, I need 5 minutes before 4 p.m. That puts it in her mind. That gives her a thought process of where she can put that in, that we can both be available for that 5 minutes to discuss what that is. So we always make sure that there's some sort of way for communication between you.
Jan, what would be, how little or how big would that communication be? What if it was a patient that had a complaint? Would that be something you would interrupt her in her flow of the day, or would that be communication at the end of the day?
I think that for Dr. Bigley, she likes to think about things and put them in her crock pot. So I try not to interrupt her unless it is a true emergency.
Okay.
If somebody's calling to complain, for instance, that they're already upset for whatever reason, I'm going to do my best to diffuse that on the phone, and then I'm going to promise them that I'll reach back out to them by the end of the day. I don't give them an exact time, or that way I'm not setting that expectation on myself and on Doc.
Yeah.
So it would have to be a true emergency for me to interrupt her.
Good, because I hear that quite often of staff will catch a doctor in the hallway.
Please don't do that.
And just give them something or say something. Oh, this patient we need to re-examine, and the doctor goes in the other patient and totally doesn't hear, doesn't have time, doesn't know.
Yeah, your doctor's thinking about that next patient as they're walking into that room.
Yeah.
So don't interrupt that thought process unless it is something that is truly emergent. You know,
Okay.
If they're discussing a new condition or a new case with one of their great clients, you don't want to interrupt that and interrupt the doctor's thought process.
Yes.
You know, you want to kind of establish that system.
And
so, if it's the patient complaint, I'm going to send her a message or leave her a Post-it on her desk that says, I need 5 minutes before 4.
Yes.
And
good.
she's going to look at her. We cluster book, so we're going to have a little spot in there that she can say, hey, I'll talk to you at 3. And I'll be ready at 3.
Okay.
So it's simple things like that make your office flow. So
that's great.
So that's a big thing for setting them up. Please communicate with them. The next one is for clearness and direction. I think sometimes as doctors, they will tend to think about something and have a set plan or a set way that they want something done, but they don't necessarily convey all those details to the staff. And it's not any sort of fault. It's just simply that they're busy. They have a lot of things going through their mind in regards to their patient care. They're running their business. They want you to do something, but they might forget to tell you the details. So don't forget to tell us the details, please.
Yeah, because the details is where it's going to come. That's the efficiency.
It is.
If you give, let's talk even like a new CA, and you tell her, here's what I want, blah, 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 and out the door you go, that staff member may not even understood what you wanted, how you wanted it, what the details are of it, and now they're either not going to do it or they're going to do it and make some mistakes.
Yeah. And they could still intimidate it.
Corrected. Oh, yeah, intimidation.
They could be intimidated. I've never done that before, and they're instantly like, uh-oh, and stressed out.
And defensive, and they don't want to tell the doctor.
Right.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Right. So definitely give them clearness, give them direction, and that leads into proper training. Let's say, for instance, you're teaching your CA how to take your x-rays. So you're going to want to tell that CA, what is your technique? Your technique may be different than another doctor's, or your technique may be different than what they learned if they have to have like a state class or something of that nature. So make sure and tell them how you want things done in your office. You may have different instructions on how you want your patients to lift something versus another doctor. Or even if you have multiple doctors, they may have their patients do something one way and the other do something just a smidge different. So just make sure that you are giving them that proper training, because if you've not given them proper training and then followed up with that and made sure that they understand it and they're implementing it correctly, then you can't get upset with them if it's not done right.
That is very true. And that goes on everything. That's your appointment book,
paperwork,
your phone, answering your telephone.
What color paper you want something printed on. It's simple things.
Yes.
Just tell us. Typically, you only have to tell us once.
Yeah.
Just tell us.
Well, in some of those cases, but I know it makes a mistake so often in offices that the doctor doesn't do the proper training. And the doctor has a book that says, okay, here's how you do this. And they lay it out, and the patient looks at it, or I'm sorry, the staff member looks at it, and they just go, I don't know, or
your learning style.
I know you just showed me, you gave it to me, and you left, and you never come back to the staff and say, hey, we need to do a training again. We need to teach again. Because how many times can you say that you've been shown something one time and you mastered it?
Oh, never. But usually that's true. It's going to be
an ongoing training.
Yes.
Depends on what it is. X-rays. That's a time. That's a constant class of, okay, here's how you tweak this. Here's what you have to do this.
Yes.
And setting it up. The phone script, booking a patient's appointments. You better not just show them one time and walk away from it.
No.
Because that's not.
Spend the proper time of training.
Schedule the training, do the training.
Yes.
Commit and pour into your staff.
Yes.
Because if you don't have much time for your staff, that's what you're going to get out of your staff, not much.
Yes, very valid.
And you've got to invest that. Yes, docs, I know you're busy. I know you've got your other stuff. But you have a responsibility to your patients to train that staff so they can handle and help your patients. That's how you create that long-term
Yes.
self-sustaining practice by investing into those patients.
And your employees want to stay there.
Yes.
And they have longevity.
Yes.
They want to stay in that position. So very, very good points. You want to set boundaries with your staff. You know, your staff and you see each other every day. You know, you spend a lot of time with your staff, sometimes more time with your staff than you do your own family. Yes. You know, that's work life for this world, you know. Mm-hmm. So set boundaries. You want to keep your office professional and friendly, you know, but you also want to draw that line in the sand of what is acceptable behavior for us in a relationship. Keep that professionalism in that doctor and CA relationship. But you still can be caring. You can still care for your staff members. You can still love your staff members and reward your staff members, you know. But just make sure that there's a clear, respectable line between I am your boss, I am your management, you know, and I still am going, you know, to take care of you and treat you like my family. Yes. So there's a very fine line there.
It is. It's a very, very fine line. But it's important also with doctors that male, females, that you may be as a new doctor, the doctor and the one female in your office at the time. You need to really stay very professional, stay out of their area.
Yes.
Stay out of that front desk area. If you need scheduled times, the boundaries of when are you able to come in this area and do that. But the other thing is I think very important with like outside office lunch. I never went to lunch with my staff.
If we're all going, and there's more than two of us, you know, if we're all going, then it's, to me, that's acceptable.
Okay. It's there.
But one-on-one sometimes can create a problem that shouldn't even be a problem. So be careful.
Exactly. So just not go to lunch, male or female. Go to lunch yourself. Let your staff go to lunch themselves. But that's also another thing, bringing that up, is make sure in your office that your staff takes that break and leaves the office.
Yes.
So often they'll bring their lunch in and they'll sit at their desk, and I make them leave the office for at least a half hour. Go sit outside. Go get in your car. Go walk. Go do something. Go outside, listen to music, but get out of the office, because if that newer staff, that newer office, you will create burnout.
Yeah. Take that mental break
quick.
Yes.
And as the one only up at CA, or maybe there's two, if you're just there all that time, you will get that mental breakdown. And sometime, I don't know when it'll happen,
but it will.
But it will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Definitely take that time. We also recommend, or in our office especially, that you have office policies. You know, you have an employee manual. It's easy if it's just one doctor, one staff. You know, you think that you can just convey everything verbally, but you know, you cannot. And Dr. Owen always said that paper is cheaper than brains. So you may as well go ahead and write these things down that you want your policies to be.
And you know what the funny thing is it's a good idea for the doctor to do that, because the doctor will change their policies and forget what they told them.
You will
and
need
then come back and have either, well, you told us this. No, I didn't, or misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But if it's in writing, it's there. And you can do addendums. Just because you wrote it once doesn't mean you don't change it up.
You can amend your policy and addend your policy, you know, with that. I come from a world that if it's not written down, it didn't happen. So same goes for your employee manual. Do you have a cell phone policy? What's your policy on being late? You know, what's your attendance policy? How far in advance do you need notification for time off, except in the exception of emergent situations?
Right.
You know, so those are things just to make sure that you have. They're going to change as you grow as an office. As things happen that you never thought would happen, that's where all your addendums and your updates are going to come in. Be clear. Go over this manual. You sign it. Have your staff sign it and date it. And then if you need to change it, go from there.
Cool.
All right. Set expectations for your staff. They need to be able to know what you're expecting for them. Don't set unrealistic expectations. Set humble expectations. You know, I would love for you on this day to work on this project. You know, I want this done at the end of every night, and I would like these things to be done weekly or monthly. Mm-hmm. Cleaning the baseboards, for instance. You know, you don't want to do that every day, but about once a month maybe. That's probably a good time frame. So just set, it sounds simple, but those are things that fall to the wayside. Have we just had them set out for us that we would remember and do them with?
Mm-hmm. And in that, also, if you don't set out those expectations, you're thinking it's supposed to get done, but your staff doesn't have a clue.
They have no idea
that it bothered you or that's what you wanted them to do. And also with those expectations, let's go back to our previous recording of that's something to give that new employee right away, because I don't want to hear the words, that's not my job.
Or no one's ever told me that before.
Yes, I don't clean the bathroom. Well, you do it this job.
Yeah.
You know, so those things, lay that out, and your office will run smoother.
It will.
Those
clear duties, those clear expectations. That
little as they may be.
Yes, they are key. Yeah, I agree. A big one in our office, and I think that I'm fortunate, is that Dr. Bigley is approachable. She is a humble person. She is approachable. I will, you know, if I need to discuss something with her, I will give her the time frame. Hey, I'm going to need 10 minutes sometime this week, you know, whatever it is. But I know that I can go in and I can speak with her and be open with her, and we can come, even if it's something, maybe I want to do something a little different than how she's been doing it. You know, maybe I've figured out a way to make that more efficient, you know. So I know that I can approach her and we can come to a resolution together. So just make yourself approachable.
You know, that bothers me so much in offices and in our CA mentoring program, of how often I hear staff, I'll say, well, go talk to the doctor about it. And I get crickets. And I'm like, whoa, what, wait a minute. Oh, I can't talk to my doctor.
Communication.
Why can't you talk to your doctor? Well, I'm afraid. And what are you afraid of? Does the doctor reject you? Does the doctor not listen to you? Do they yell at you? Do they get mad? Or they take their anger out on you? Yeah, it happens so often. And I would never had that problem. Mm-hmm. And it breaks my heart to hear that. So doctors, if you're listening to this and you find your staff doesn't communicate with you, doesn't come in and talk to you, you might need to look in the mirror and say why.
Yes.
Because they'll give you great insight. They'll give you great ideas. You don't have to take them all. We call it throw it up on the wall. If it sticks, great. If it falls on the floor, it's not a bad thing. Not everything goes through. Jan presents stuff, I'm sure, to Dr. Bigley, and she doesn't want to do it, or it might be a while before she's ready.
And it's okay.
And it's okay. But if you have staff that's afraid to talk to the doctor, then you've got a lack of communication. Mistakes are going to be made, and the practice isn't going to grow.
Yeah. So, being approachable goes hand in hand with your communication.
Yes.
If they cannot come to you, you're never going to be able to establish that flow.
Yeah, and you need to know why don't they come to you.
Another thing is make sure that your staff are your patients. I've talked to an office before. The staff member had been there a few months, and they hadn't even been through the new patient process yet. I know that it is a little bit of time, but that is time well spent. If your employee is not a patient, how can they share their experiences, and how can they give a firsthand look at what you're doing for all these other people if they've not been through it themselves?
Yeah. They've got to understand.
Yes.
And that's in the first interviewing and hiring process, that you will be a patient. If they don't want to do that, I'm not going to hire them, because one, it's a great benefit to them. And don't wait until they've been on the job a month. This should be the very first thing. They go on the patient just like a new patient.
Yes.
Go through CER, each one of those visits, and do it in order. Don't do it all crumbled up. Do it like a patient. They're going to experience the patient.
Yes.
And then get them into their treatment schedule.
Yes, absolutely. We treat them just as we would any new patient. So.
And that's good. And always adjusting your patients. Your staff. Doctors, you need to schedule regular care with your patients because that's going to be an important part. If they're not getting the care they need and they're coming in not feeling well, they're not doing well, they're not going to give 100% care to their patients either.
No,
it's going to be a physical limitation. So want to make sure that your staff is treated in the number one position over your patients.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they represent you.
They do.
I used to have headaches and patients would come in, they could see it in my eyes immediately. Say, oh gosh, Christie, you don't feel good. I said, you should have seen me before I got my adjustment. I just need to get some rest like you do, but I'm here to serve you today. And as soon as I get home and rest, I'll be back to my normal self tomorrow.
Instant testimonial.
And it was an instant testimonial. You think I look bad now? You should have seen me.
Should have seen me earlier.
and so we share all that side of it.
Absolutely. I think the last thing that I also cannot stress enough is to encourage your staff. Thank your staff. It doesn't always have to be a reward or a goal or some sort of prize. It can just be a simple, you did such a great job on that financial. I loved the way that you answered the phone. I'm so thankful that you come in every morning with a smile on your face. Those simple things mean the world to your staff. So don't forget those.
Yeah, because you know what? I was with the staff earlier today, and they felt like all the doctor did was point out the negatives and not the positives. Now, the doctor, I have to say, has been encouraging and saying, I believed in you. You've got the potential. I'm working with you. But in the office, in the environment, make sure you're complimenting them on handling something right, doing something for that patient, moving them to the room correctly. And long-term employees need that same encouragement. They may have been there a long time, but they still want to hear, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah. And I want to hear it. I'm 10 years in, and I still like those little nuggets of encouragement and positivity.
And then you've got the other ways of rewards. Someone shared in our meeting this last weekend that they had established where was everybody going to focus this year. And one of the doctors took referrals. One of the CAs took missed appointments. One of them took, so they were going to really focus their job. And they set goals. And when they got the goals, the doctor has already bought a bunch of gift cards. Mm-hmm. And it's in a little basket. And they get to go in, reach in the basket, and draw out a gift card when they hit that. And that meant so much to the staff member. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit that card meant the world. Well, that card might have been $25, but she just took missed appointments and got 15 more booked, rescheduled. So what did that bring in income to your office?
Right.
We don't always see it because it's in the log, but it's there. Yeah. So in encouragements, it goes both ways. Think of different ways, be creative with it, and make it happen.
Absolutely. That value there is priceless.
Yes, yes. Okay, well, we've run out of time today, so we're going to get back with other areas, and we'll bring some more classes to them. Let's get together again and share some more of our ideas and things, because I know we're making a difference in the community and on Wake Up Aligned.
Follow our show. You can share it with friends, of course, and we'd love for you to contact us at mailbag@amcfamily.com. In addition, you're always invited to attend or join us at a summit. Of course, registration is required. And we would love for you to check out the loads of free content we provide to social media every single week. Until next time.